guys, I wanted to give you my thoughts on the series Kipo and the Two Strings, which, not Two Strings, I mean Kipo and the Age of Wonderbeasts. I posted a video about how much I loved the coming out scene from season 1 a few months ago, so I wanted to expand more on my overall thoughts on the show. I've never read the webcomic this show is based on, so I went into this show pretty much blind. No idea what it was about. I just saw a new animated series on Netfish. I watched Kipo and the Two Strings, I mean Wonderbeasts on Netfish. This is what happens when you try to write a script after video editing for 10 hours straight. Okay, so heads up here, there will be spoilers for this show in this video, so be forewarned before continuing. And hopefully I'll be able to get through the script without screwing it up again. So, quick summary, Kipo and the Age of Wonderbeasts, hey, I said that right that time, is about a 13-year-old girl who is forced to leave her underground home and venture out into a post-apocalyptic wasteland that is ruled by mutated anthropomorphic animals and giant Wonderbeasts to search for a way to get back to her father. Sounds an awful lot like the plot to Fallout 3, doesn't it? Minus the giant mutated animal thing, although there is one big giant robot in Fallout 3. Spoiler warning, oh sorry. A lone wanderer is forced to leave the safety of their underground bunker and enter a barren post-apocalyptic wasteland. Yeah, I know I'm not the first one to make that sort of comparison between Fallout and Kipo, but I love that franchise, so I had to mention it. Kipo to me is like if the Fallout franchise, Adventure Time, and the island of Dr. Maru got together, made a baby, and made it look like Avatar: The Last Airbender, except with subpar animation in comparison to Last Airbender. Season 1 was a good setup to get to know Kipo and the friends she meets along the way. I mean, we have Wolf, who's the stoic, strong but silent type, Benson, who is more about keeping morale and making sure his friends are safe and on the right track. Dave is more of our wild card of the group, who is pretty much indestructible and changes through all the different stages of life that a bug does, which is kind of gross, to be honest with you, at least in my opinion. Then you have the little pig, who is like the group mascot. In the first season, we are given time to understand how this world works and how these 5 friends work together to survive in this how to survive the poka. In the first season, we are given time to understand how this world works and how these 5 friends work together to survive in this post-apocalyptic world and help Kipo find her dad. Season 2 was more about how Kipo actually fits into this world. We have mutant anthro-animal characters who have taken over the planet, forcing humans to live underground. Mutants, or mutes as they're called, hate humans and either want to kill them out of some kind of xenophobic mindset, or for food, or just kind of give them space. Let me get this off my chest. I did not like the animation in this show. It felt really stiff to me, especially when characters are just standing talking. The emotions are not conveyed as much as they are in, say, The Last Airbender, which has a very similar visual style. I know it's going for an anime look, but to me it could have done far more with the animation. But the visual style and look of the show itself is great. A lot of shows that are post-apocalyptic are very dark and monotonal, apart from, say, Adventure Time, and I like how the show embraces that. I'd say that this has a much more grounded feel to it than Adventure Time does. I mean, it's not as fantastical or whimsical or anything, but to me, that makes this show that much more believable. I found Kipo herself to be adorably naive and upbeat, but she's also intelligent and adores science. Wolf is hilariously cynical, but slowly opens up over time. Benson is caring and a little more adventurous than Wolf, but not as naive as Kipo. I'll say this about the show, it's rare to have a post-apocalyptic show with a female lead, and it's even rarer to have LGBT representation in a show without it feeling like bait. Like, it's there, but the series doesn't show off about it. It's not made a big deal, and that to me is how it should be. Because though it is a big deal that an animated kids show is finally depicting LGBT characters, it shouldn't be made into a big deal because it's not. The show has the first coming out scene in an all-ages animated series, but it's understated, and I think that makes it all the more noteworthy. It's not treated as a plot point, and the orientation isn't slapped on in the later season for the sake of representation either. See? The Hollow, this is how you do it! Something I will say is that the show does have some vibes similar to, say, the anime Attack on Titan, with the giant mute animals and how Kipo is part mute, which allows her to change into a giant jaguar. I love how the backstory of this was explained and how the scientific side wasn't glazed over or simplified or dumbed down for a kids audience. There was just enough there for us to understand that it was a complicated process, but it didn't just, you know, glance over the top of it or anything. And it also shows how Kipo's story tied into the villain of the show, Scarlemagne. His story did feel very Planet of the Apes-ish, or Frankenstein's monster to me, which was a little bit, I don't know, weak. But I did like how Kipo tried to connect with him on an emotional level to help to change his mind on how much he hates humans, even after learning why. Kipo is definitely a pacifist, and I like that about her. She has this amazing hidden power which she could easily use in malice or intimidation, but she doesn't. She always tries to find the most peaceful solution, and I like that. I don't see this show as an animated marvel, as some critics are saying it is, but I do say it is a must-watch, especially if you like shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender or Adventure Time. I'm Mad Munchkin, stay creative.